I deliberately got a perfect score on the college entrance exam, just to put distance between myself and my two childhood sweethearts. After the exam, they reminded me not to forget to fill in Hwada as my first choice. I casually agreed, then immediately chose Jinda, a university thousands of kilometers from home. The second I finalized my application, the phone on my desk rang. I picked it up and saw it was a group chat with Lu Mingyu and the two sweethearts who were supposed to love him forever. The group chat clearly had 3 people in the name, but at that moment there were 4 people in the chat. I saw Jingian had sent a message in the group chat. "Yay! I checked my score and I'm in Hwada! I'm so happy! Now I can continue to be classmates with Ruwei, Yating, and Mingyu. Please look after me." Although he said that, the names he tagged immediately after were only Shen Ruwei and Su Yating. Shen Ruwei immediately replied, "As long as you need me, I'll be by your side in the first moment." Su Yating followed up, "Me too. On the first day of school, the whole campus will know that you're under the protection of this young miss." Afterward, they passionately discussed throwing a celebratory banquet for Jingian. I didn't say a single word from beginning to end, and no one addressed me. Even though I was an important member of this group, I felt like an outsider for no reason. The group name, shining brightly on the phone screen, now seemed to be mocking me. I grew up with them as childhood friends. When we first met at age 3, the two of them held on to little me and wouldn't let go, wanting to stay with me every day. On my 17th birthday, they both confessed to me. I couldn't choose and didn't want to date yet. Just as I was about to steal my heart and refuse, they immediately grabbed my hands, preventing me from saying anything to reject them, and humbly asked for some time for me to consider, promising to wait until the first day of university for my answer. I didn't want to hurt anyone, so I reluctantly agreed. I thought I would figure out my feelings during this time until Jingian appeared. Jingian was one of the students sponsored by the Lu family. Because of his excellent grades, he was able to transfer to my high school. He used the excuse of thanking me to approach me step by step. At first, I often took care of him out of pity. He said he couldn't afford meals, so I often used my meal card to buy him food. He said he couldn't keep up with the lessons, so I sacrificed my time to tutor him. He said he had no friends, so I introduced him to Shen Ruwei and Su Yating. But I never expected that in just 3 months, Jingian would strategically replace me step by step. Seeing the 4 names on the screen, all heading to Hwada, I coldly put down my phone. Then, I began clearing out all memories in my house related to Shenrua and Su Yating. I collected everything related to them from the shelves and threw it into a box. Before I knew it, the box was completely full. As I was carrying the box downstairs to throw it in the trash, I coincidentally ran into Shen Ruwei and Su Yating, who were returning from the banquet. Almost immediately, they spotted the 2 veils in the trash can. When I played house with them as kids, they both competed to be my bride and nearly got into a fight. In the end, I had to buy them both veils, which finally calmed them down, but they still insisted that when we got married, the other person's veil had to be thrown away. At the time, I just blinked my eyes. "How do you know I'll marry one of you when I grow up?" They instantly exploded, saying I had to choose one of them. Now, seeing that I had thrown them away, and not only that, I had seemingly thrown away everything related to them, the 2 immediately rushed forward. Su Yating, with her more outgoing personality, tightly gripped my hand, saying in disbelief, "Why did you throw away the things you gave us? Are you still angry about what happened earlier?" "The password to your house gate. It's true," we told Jingian. "But aren't you 2 friends? We just thought it was okay to tell him. Even if he took your things, we transferred the money. Didn't you receive the money?" Shen Ruwei, with her colder and more reserved personality, spoke with a slight tremble in her voice. "Mingyu, if you're upset about such a small matter, fine. But why are you throwing things away? You have to be so absolute." "I'm absolute because I threw away their things? They're broken? What if I told them that I secretly changed my college application to permanently leave them? Wouldn't they completely lose it?" "I'm not angry. It's just that these things molded, so of course I had to throw them away," I replied flatly, my gaze as calm as still water when I looked at their eyes. "Are you really not angry?" they asked in unison. I shook my head. "No. After all, these 2 will have nothing to do with me in the future. What's there to be angry about?" Hearing this, Su Yating immediately sighed in relief, and Shen Ruwei's eyebrows also relaxed slightly. "If they molded, it's good that you threw them away. We'll buy you new ones later." I didn't reply, just hummed faintly and turned to leave indifferently. On the day I received my acceptance letter from Peking University, Beida, as soon as I put it away, Shen Ruowei and Su Yating knocked on my door together. Mingyu, our acceptance letters arrived. Did yours? Let's go out together. My expression was flat as I said, no need, mine has already been delivered. I moved to close the door. Shen Ruowei quickly put her hand on the door to stop it. Wait, I booked a private room. Let's have a celebratory dinner together. No need. Isn't there a class reunion in a few days? Yeah, we can have dinner then. After speaking, I closed the door, leaving the two of them standing there, looking at each other. 3 days later was the planned class reunion. As soon as I arrived, many classmates looked behind me curiously. Then their eyes filled with disappointment. Mingyu, why didn't the two beauties come? Didn't they always follow wherever you go? Yeah, I heard you all got into WADA. On the first day of school, you have to choose between Shen Ruowei and Su Yating. Have you decided who you're gonna pick? Before I could answer, a few classmates who always targeted me quickly jumped in. Does he still have the chance to choose? Shen Ruowei and Su Yating like Song Jingian more now. Why are you even asking him? Can't you see what's happening? The group burst into laughter, waiting to see my reaction. They expected me to be angry, but I said nothing and didn't even spare them a glance. The group, having been ignored, tried to continue mocking me, but I remained completely silent. At this moment, the private room door opened. Shen Ruowei and Su Yating stood on either side of Song Jingian as they walked in. The group immediately looked at me and started laughing again. Now that the young misses don't like him anymore, I really don't know what he has left to be arrogant about. That's not arrogance. He's like a stray dog. Look at him, he looks like a dog. The class monitor wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and quickly smoothed things over. Since everyone's here, let's start the party. Su Yating sat down unrestrainedly, twirling a fruit knife in her hand. Swish, swish, swish. The fruit peels neatly fell into the trash can. Soon, a bowl of fruit was placed in front of Song Jingian. Eat more fruit, she said casually. They took extremely good care of Song Jingian. Mindful of the last incident, neither of them looked in my direction. I sat in the corner, calmly eating my fruit, my expression one of complete indifference. Midway, someone started a game of truth or dare. I didn't want to participate but was forcibly pulled into the game. After a few rounds, I lost. Come on, come on. Mingyu's turn to share a secret. A secret? I sneered inwardly. My gaze swept over Shen Ruowei and Su Yating, and then I spoke faintly. My secret is that on the first day of school, I will throw away 2 things. The crowd didn't grasp the hidden meaning in my words, and seemed disappointed. That's not much of a secret. Throwing things away is no secret. We'll let you off the hook this time. But don't be so perfunctory next time. I nodded, but offered no explanation. Unluckily, I lost the very next round. Instantly, everyone in the room started chanting, Mingyu, we can't let you off easy this time. We'll ask a difficult one. How about we ask who he's going to choose between Shen Ruowei and Su Yating to be his girlfriend? As soon as the question was asked, everyone in the room leaned forward, waiting for the answer. Shen Ruowei nervously drank water several times. Su Yating was no less anxious, her fists tightly clenched, not relaxing for a moment. I glanced at them, somewhat surprised. They were now so focused on Song Jingian, yet they were still nervous about my answer. I let out a cold laugh. Both of them, Before I could finish, Song Jingian let out a startled cry. Everyone turned to look and saw that Song Jingian had accidentally spilled wine on himself. The wine instantly soaked his collar. Shen Ruowei and Su Yating's faces paled slightly. One immediately pulled the jacket tighter around Song Jingian, while the other quickly cleared a path, leading him away to change clothes. The game was interrupted. With the focus of the topic gone, the others lost interest in continuing the game. Some quietly discussed leaving. The class monitor quickly called out, Everyone, please don't leave yet. The teacher also bought a lot of fireworks. Let's all go to the riverside and set them off to celebrate our new journey. Hearing this, those who were quietly saying they wanted to leave fell silent. After a long wait, Song Jingian finally arrived, shielded between Shen Ruowei and Su Yating. He was wearing a tiered haute couture shirt, bought by Shen Ruowei, and the latest exclusive designer shoes, gifted by Su Yating. The crowd began whispering, their voices filled with envy. They knew the shirt and the shoes were both new haute couture items from the designer brand. Only I gave them a quick glance and then ignored them. The group walked boisterously toward the river to set off fireworks. Brilliant fireworks blossomed in the dark sky. Almost everyone was silently making a wish. Only Jingian shouted loudly towards the river, I hope Shen Ruowei and Su Yating's wishes all come true. Hearing this, Shen Ruowei's usually indifferent eyes couldn't help but show some emotion. Su Yating smiled unrestrainedly and even gently ruffled Jingian's hair. Why are you so silly? Who makes a wish for others? Jingian turned his head and smiled at the two. But in my heart, you two are the most important people. Shen Ruowei and Su Yating were slightly flustered and spoke almost in unison. You are also the most important person to me. I felt the air was thick with a cloyingly sweet scent and didn't want to stay near them anymore. I turned and went to a corner, silently enjoying the fireworks alone. Jingian noticed and immediately tugged at Shen Ruowei and Su Yating. Mingyu seems unhappy. He didn't even set off fireworks. Let's go comfort him. I'm not angry about the last incident anymore. You shouldn't be angry either. Hearing this, Shen Ruowei's eyes darkened. Her feet seemed rooted to the ground, unmoving. Su Yating also turned her head away and refused to move. Quote, Sai, if you two won't go, I'll go comfort him and give him a surprise, Jingian said. He laughed, picked up a bunch of fireworks, and secretly lit them as he approached behind me, then casually tossed the bundle toward my head. Boom! The fireworks exploded. Everyone looked over and saw me completely engulfed in flames. At this sight, Shen Ruowei and Su Yating's hearts seized up. They ran over like mad. When I woke up again, the first thing I saw was a sterile white. My nose was filled with the strong smell of disinfectant. As soon as I moved, intense pain shot through my whole body. The nurse changing my dressing quickly stopped me. Don't move. You have severe burns on your body. Fortunately, your face wasn't hurt, and you were brought in time. The skin won't scar. I remembered the scene before I lost consciousness and felt a chill deep in my heart. I wanted to speak, but the pain made me weak. At this moment, the nurse added, Oh, two very beautiful girls brought you to the hospital. You were unconscious when they brought you, so you didn't see how frantic they were. They stayed by your side for as long as you were unconscious. They were just persuaded to go rest. Should we call them? They'll be very happy to know you're awake. I quickly stopped her. No, I don't want to see Shen Ruowei and Su Yating. The nurse nodded and wheeled the dressing cart away. However, not long after, Shen Ruowei and Su Yating, having heard the news, rushed in. They usually had a high standard for cleanliness, but their eyes were now bloodshot, their shirts unwashed for days. Their faces were etched with heartache. The moment they saw me, their voices trembled. Mingyu, are you okay? We're so sorry. We didn't protect you. Before I could speak, Shen Ruowei spoke again, placing a large pile of handwritten apology letters on the ground. Mingyu, I know you're in a lot of pain. Jingian did something wrong this time, but he didn't mean it. He's been feeling guilty for as long as you've been unconscious, constantly thinking about how to apologize to you. Can you please forgive him? Hearing these words, my palms felt cold. I'm the one who was injured. Does he expect me to be responsible for his guilt? Mingyu, I didn't mean that. Jingian just wants to apologize to you. He wants to apologize? Fine. Let him come here and suffer the same injuries as me. After saying this, I closed my eyes, unwilling to look at their faces anymore. Su Yating swallowed the sourness in her throat and spoke as gently as possible. Mingyu, don't be so aggressive. Jingian really is very remorseful. Remorseful? I laughed until tears came. He's so remorseful? If you feel sorry for him, go see him. Why are you staying in my hospital room? Shen Ruowei and Su Yating exchanged a look and sighed helplessly. They knew that whatever they said now, I wouldn't listen. Su Yating reluctantly said, Mingyu, I found the best doctor in the city for your treatment. There won't be any scars, so don't worry. Shen Ruowei followed. I've left the Shen family bodyguards here. Tell them directly if you want anything to eat or use. We'll come to see you every day. After saying this, the two took a long, deep look at me, lying with my eyes closed on the bed, and then they left. After they left, I gritted my teeth and gasped for air due to the pain. The anesthesia had worn off the moment I woke up. My whole body felt like it was being sliced by knives. Until, after an unknown amount of time, my parents rushed in. "Mingyu, does it hurt?" As soon as my parents' caring words were spoken, I couldn't hold back the tears I had been suppressing for so long. "Mom, Dad." My mother hugged me tightly. Heartbroken, my father's face was dark. He slammed the table hard. "We brought a wolf into the house!" That song Jingian definitely did it on purpose. Starting today, we're cutting off all funding for Song Jingian. We will also try our best to find evidence to pursue all legal responsibilities against him. After a long time, my emotions finally stabilized. My parents also had to leave due to work. "Mingyu, focus on recovering. Mom and Dad have to leave for work, but we definitely won't let him get away with this." My parents came and went in a hurry, and the hospital room became empty and cold again. But I didn't feel as sad as before. A warmth spread through my heart. I stayed in the hospital for a very long time. Shen Ruowei and Su Yating came to see me almost every day. Each time, I refused to see them. They could only leave the gifts they brought each day outside the door, hoping someone would bring them in. But each time, I gave them to the on-duty nurses. Finally, on the day I was discharged, Shen Ruowei and Su Yating came to pick me up. "Mingyu, your aunt and uncle are away on a business trip. We're here to pick you up." I didn't even look at them, turning to walk in a different direction. Shen Ruowei's face darkened. She grabbed my hand. "Mingyu, we haven't seen Song Jingian recently because you were unhappy. It's understandable that you don't like him, but why has our relationship become so distant?" Hearing this, I couldn't help but find it ridiculous. Did I intentionally become distant? Didn't they push me away step by step, forcibly cutting me out? I only laughed a few times without answering. Su Yating drove the car over and blocked the door. "Mingyu, if you don't get in the car, we'll keep blocking this road. I guarantee that no car on this road will be able to pass." As if to confirm her words, cars nearby soon honked their horns in protest. Then came the second car, the third, and more and more. I didn't want to cause a traffic disturbance, so I had no choice but to get in the car. As soon as I got in, the two began to wildly fawn over me. "Mingyu, look, this is your favorite cake shop. Didn't you always want to eat from there? I waited in line for ages." Su Yating held up the strawberry cake like a puppy seeking praise, her eyes shining brightly. "No need. I don't like it anymore. It's too sweet." I coldly refused. Shen Ruowei pushed an exquisitely wrapped box of ointment toward me. "It's okay if you don't like it. This is medicine I got from a famous medical professor abroad. Applying it will help your wounds heal." I pushed the ointment back. "No need. The hospital gave me medicine. I don't need this." No matter how much the two tried to be attentive, I rejected everything. Suddenly, I felt something stuck in the seat crack. I pulled it out. It was a slip of paper. In delicate handwriting, it read, "Prince Jingian's attachment." I couldn't help but let out a self-mocking laugh. Su Yating quickly snatched the paper and forcefully tore it up. "Mingyu, don't misunderstand. I lost a game last time." Her hurried action seemed like she was afraid of my misunderstanding. I just let out a slight, indifferent laugh. It has nothing to do with me. I closed my eyes, losing interest, and ignored their reactions. Su Yating's face instantly changed. "How can it have nothing to do with you? Have you forgotten what you promised us before?" "You were supposed to make a choice on the first day of school." Shen Rui's cold gaze shifted slightly, and she couldn't help but ask, "Have you decided who to choose?" I glanced at them. "Perhaps you should ask Song Jingian that question. It seems more appropriate." "Why ask Song Jingian? We don't feel that way about him, Mingyu. Did you misunderstand something?" The two of them's expressions changed abruptly, and they rushed to explain, but I didn't want to listen anymore. I closed my eyes, resting my head against the car window, ignoring everything. Shen Ruowei and Su Yating also didn't dare to bother me further. They just exchanged glances, sensing that I seemed to have changed a lot, becoming increasingly indifferent to them. This was not their original intention. They wanted to explain, but didn't know where to start, so they could only comfort themselves. It will be fine on the first day of school. As soon as I got home, I received a call from my homeroom teacher. "Mingyu, your scores this time were excellent. You're the top scorer in our city. The school would like to invite you back to give a speech to the younger students and share your study tips." I hesitated for a moment. If I gave the speech, the fact that I changed my university application would be exposed. But I only hesitated for a few seconds before agreeing. They were going to find out about the change in applications sooner or later. I had only been hiding it to avoid trouble. But the matter was settled. Their panic couldn't change anything. I couldn't be timid just because I was afraid of them finding out. More importantly, I wanted to share some study tips with the younger students. With this in mind, I spent 3 days thoroughly preparing for the speech. However, just as I was about to go on stage, Shen Rue and Su Yating blocked my path. Su Yating spoke somewhat unnaturally. "Mingyu, you don't need to go on stage this time. How about we go out and eat something together? Or is there somewhere you want to go? We'll take you." I looked at their slightly nervous expressions. His gaze drifting several times toward the corner, he suspiciously asked, "What do you mean?" Shen Rue was silent for a few seconds before taking over the conversation. Jingian really wants to practice his public speaking skills, so I asked my father to intervene and give him this opportunity to speak. The Shen family invested in several buildings, so changing the speaker at the last minute is simply a matter of a single word from him. At that moment, Song Jingian's clear voice came from the stage. I followed the sound and looked up, seeing Song Jingian prominently displayed on the stage. Looking at me, who was clearly lost in thought, Shen Rue and Su Yating couldn't help but feel nervous. They were waiting for me to get angry and lose my temper. However, after waiting for a long time, my face remained cold, showing no sign of anger. All the contingency plans they had prepared were not needed. I just smiled faintly, said nothing, and turned to leave. What a pity, Shen Rue, Su Yating. You missed the last chance to learn the truth. On the day school started, my parents specifically came back. "Mingyu, are all your bags ready? Beta is so far from the capital city, more than 3,000 kilometers. Make sure you take everything you need." My mother worriedly checked the number of suitcases repeatedly. My father also said with concern, "Dad will take you to the airport. I'm not comfortable with you traveling so far by yourself." "No need." I smiled and shook my head. "I'm all grown up now. Mom and Dad, you're busy with work. You don't need to worry about me." Even though I said that, my mother still seemed uneasy. She wiped away tears, her voice sounding a little choked up. "How can I be at ease when you're going that far away all by yourself? Huada is in this city, yet you have to run off so far." I smiled and hugged my mother. "I'm only going to college, and you're crying like this. If I go out to work in the future, won't you cry until you faint?" This made my mother recall something. She quickly pulled a piece of paper from her bag. A string of phone numbers was written on it. "Mingyu, actually when you were little, the family arranged a marriage for you. But these two children, Shen Rue and Su Yating, were always clinging to you, and we always thought you would marry one of them, so we never mentioned it. Now it seems they are not suitable for you. That child is also studying at Beta, in the same university as you. Although we don't really do engagement since childhood anymore, if you two get along, then get along. If not, you can ask them for help if you need anything, so you'll have someone looking out for you." As she spoke, my mother placed the paper in my palm. Just as I was about to politely decline, Shen Rue and Su Yating suddenly walked in. "Aunt and Uncle, don't worry, we'll take good care of Mingyu." Everyone present knew the two had misheard and thought my parents were talking about them, but everyone stayed silent. Not a single person told them the truth. I calmly put the slip of paper into my pocket and said, "Mom, don't worry, I know." My mother wiped her tears, her heart hardening. My father couldn't help but get teary-eyed as well. Shen Rue and Su Yating exchanged glances, not understanding why they were crying so much. "Uncle and Aunt, Huada is in this city. Even though Mingyu is staying in the dorm, he can still come back on weekends anytime. If he misses home, we can come back with him every day too." My parents sighed and said nothing. Shen Rue and Su Yating didn't notice the strange atmosphere, and hurried into my room, eagerly offering to help carry my luggage. But when they went in, both of them were startled. Shen Rue said with some frustration, "Isn't the university in this city? You can come home anytime. Why are you bringing so many clothes?" "That has nothing to do with you," I replied dismissively. "It's normal for me to have a lot of clothes." Su Yating quickly chimed in, Yes. You can buy as many as you want. Once the formalities are done, I'll take you to buy more." Shen Rue didn't speak again, instead picking up a suitcase. Her usually cold face now carried a hint of subtle tension. "Mingyu, Let's take my car." She hesitated, then stammered. "I've prepared a surprise for you at school." Su Yating quickly snatched the suitcase from her hand. "No, take my car. I also have a surprise prepared." The two of them pulled me from left to right. In the midst of the tug-of-war, someone's phone suddenly rang. "Ruwei, Yating, I got into a car accident on the way to school." It was Song Jingian. Shen Ruwei and Su Yating's expressions instantly changed dramatically. They anxiously asked, "Are you okay? What happened? Are you hurt?" Song Jingian's choked voice came through the phone. "I'm okay, just scared." Shen Ruwei made a quick decision. "Don't move. Wait for me right there. I'm coming immediately to find you." Su Yating also comforted him. "Don't be afraid. I'm here. I'm coming to find you." After hanging up, they finally remembered me standing next to them. Before they could speak, I interrupted the words they hadn't said yet. "You don't need to drive me. I'll go to school myself." Shen Ruwei looked like she wanted to say more, but eventually only said, "Then call me when you get to school." Su Yating also stammered, "Mingyu, you promised you would choose one of us on the first day of school. Don't forget." I looked at them coldly, neither nodding nor answering. The two felt something was wrong, but Su Yating's phone rang again. Song Jingian's voice on the other end was hoarse, claiming he was both scared and that his leg hurt. The two were then forced to leave. Shen Ruwei and Su Yating kept looking back, constantly reminding me to contact them. However, I didn't reply with a single word. Finally, the two got into their respective cars, and I also got into a car. As soon as I sat down, my phone vibrated slightly. I opened it and realized it was from Song Jingian. "Lu Mingyu, do you see now? All it takes is one phone call from me, and they'll still abandon you. Even if you become their boyfriend, it will be the same. If you keep sponsoring me, I might consider letting you have one of them." Seeing this message, I sneered, tapping out a few words with my fingertips. "No need. I don't want either of them anymore. They're all yours." After sending it, I decisively blocked Song Jingian. Next came Shen Ruwei and Su Yating. Finally, I broke my SIM card and threw it away, then pulled a new card from my bag and put it in. The first number I entered was the one for the person from the arranged marriage my mother had just given me. The driver stepped on the gas, and the car headed toward the airport in the opposite direction from the other two. I looked at the rapidly moving scenery and smiled faintly. This time, I will start a new life completely. The moment the plane took off, I thought to myself, everything in the past is over. I'm starting a brand new life, and in this part of my life, Shen Ruwei and Su Yating will not be involved. The plane had just taken off on my side. At the same time, Shen Ruwei and Su Yating, holding bouquets of flowers, stood at the Huada campus gate, their faces growing darker and darker. Since the Liu family car hadn't appeared after a long wait, their premonition grew increasingly ominous. For some reason, they both felt a growing sense of unease. A thought arose. He doesn't want to accept their confessions. Maybe he just took a different route to enter the school gate. They hardly dared to consider the impossible possibility. The countless flowers displayed behind them attracted the attention of many students. Some busybodies even took pictures and posted them on the school forum. "The new beauties at our school are making such a big fuss on the first day. Who are they going to confess to? I'm dying. Who is so lucky?" Don't say it, but seriously, they both have distinct styles. One is cool and aloof, the other is warm and unrestrained. Are they both going to confess to the same guy? Are they still at the school gate? I'm gonna check it out. Countless people who saw the forum post rushed over to watch. The crowd around them grew larger and larger, the onlookers quietly discussed, all wanting to know who was lucky enough to be confessed to by two such stunning beauties. Shen Ruo had tried calling my phone countless times, but it never connected. Su Yating's face was as dark as a pot bottom. He blocked me. I can't reach him at all. She clenched her phone so tightly that it almost warped. Clearly, the same frustration was visible in Shen Ruo's cold eyes. Me too. They had never experienced anything like this before. I had never failed to contact them like this. Something must have happened to him. The carefully prepared flowers and gifts were carelessly thrown on the ground. Shen Ruo frantically ran home. Su Yating also urgently searched the school for me. The door to the Liu family home was knocked on again. This time, it took a long time for someone to open it. It wasn't me, but the household maid. "Miss Shen, may I help you?" Seeing the maid, Shen Ruo's brows furrowed, and she was speechless for a moment. After a silent pause, she asked, "Is Mingyu still at home?" She peered inside. My suitcases and I were not in the house. The maid was confused. "Miss Shen, the young master left with you all this morning. Why would he still be home now?" Shen Rue, and continued, "Are aunt and uncle still home? I have some questions for them." "Sir and madam went on a business trip after you left. They are not at home. You can call them to ask," the maid honestly replied, then slowly closed the door. Shen Ruo's eyes were deep. "If only the phone could connect, that would be great," she murmured to herself, feeling somewhat desolate. Could it be that Mingyu really doesn't want to accept their confession and is avoiding them? They had rushed to school to prepare a surprise as quickly as possible after dealing with Song Jingnian's matter. Why were they still a step too late? Just a little bit more, and they could have explained everything clearly. Shen Rue returned to school in a daze. Meanwhile, Su Yating wasn't doing any better. She asked everyone she met if they knew me. The passing students all shook their heads. A kind student spoke up to remind her, "Sister, this is not the way to look for someone. Who are you looking for? Go to the Student Affairs Office and ask, or check with the Academic Affairs Office. Asking them to look it up in the system will be much faster." Su Yating was so anxious that her mind was muddled. She quickly thanked the student repeatedly. "I was so stupid to use such a clumsy method to look for someone." After getting the advice, Su Yating quickly ran to the Academic Affairs Office and found the teacher responsible for student registration. "Teacher, my boyfriend is also a new student here, but he's been unreachable until now. I need your help to check if he is registered for school." The teacher hesitated for a long time until Su Yating offered to donate a mobile library. The teacher then beamed and agreed. She checked the system several times but could not find me. Not even a person with the same name. The teacher was now unsure. "Student, are you sure your boyfriend's name is correct? Lu Mingyu, is that spelled correctly?" She pointed at the name on the screen, repeatedly confirming. Su Yating quickly nodded. "Yes, it's correct. How could I mistake his name?" Now it was the teacher's turn to panic. She instinctively checked the list of admitted new students. After searching repeatedly, and together with Su Yating, looking countless times, she finally concluded, "Student, the person you are talking about is not a student at our school. We did not admit anyone by that name this year, and not in previous years either. The system records won't make a mistake. Is it possible your boyfriend lied to you? If he really lied to you, you should report it to the police quickly." Hearing these words, Su Yating felt as if struck by lightning. Thunder echoed in her mind. What did I just hear? Huada didn't admit him? Then where did he go? With his scores, he would be highly sought after by any school. There's no way he failed to be accepted anywhere. What exactly happened? In an instant, Su Yating felt her mind was rusted and unable to think. At that moment, Shen Ruai arrived after getting the news. Her presence radiated an icy coldness. Few people dared to approach her, wanting to stay miles away. "How is it?" she asked coldly, clearly in a bad mood, holding back her anger. Su Yating shook her head and poured out all the news she had just received. Shen Rui's eyes contracted, and her gaze deepened. Where did he go? He wants to leave us? This thought arose in both their minds. Su Yating's eyes reddened slightly, unable to accept the truth. She was about to collapse. Shen Ruowei was no better. On the way to school, she had considered every possibility. She had even thought I was just jealous and being petty, but she never imagined I would leave them. For a moment, both were unable to accept this fact. For a split second, they wondered if they had pushed me too hard, causing me to do this. But the next moment, a boy's voice interrupted their thoughts. At the school gate, a boy picked up your gifts and flowers. He said he knows you. Hurry and check it out. It's raining outside. You don't want to get sick. Hearing this, Shen Ruowei and Su Yating looked at each other, both seeing surprise and excitement in the other's eyes. Su Yating was overjoyed for a moment and quickly rushed out the school gate. Shen Ruowei followed, her pace also involuntarily quickening. Is it Lu Mingyu? The impossible fantasy arose in both their minds. Maybe he was just playing a trick on them? It doesn't matter if they are not in the same school, as long as he is still willing to accept their confession, the two thought in unison. As they got closer to the school gate, Su Yating's heart thumped wildly. Shen Ruei was also extremely nervous. It wasn't until the boy holding the 2 bouquets of flowers at the school gate turned around that they both froze. "Why are you here? Song Jingian, why are you here? Where is Mingyu?" Su Yating and Shen Ruowei asked one after the other. Song Jingian was completely soaked by the rain, but he was still trying to shield the flowers and gifts in his arms from the rain. "Ruei, Yating, you're finally here. I was guarding your gifts for you. Why hasn't Mingyu arrived yet? I've been waiting here for so long." His thin body was battered by the wind and rain, yet it conveyed a stubborn demeanor. It was a pity that neither of them had the heart to appreciate it. Su Yating was disappointed and replied dismissively, "You don't need to guard these. You should go home. Mingyu won't be coming." Shen Ruowei looked at the messy flowers scattered on the ground, filled with despair. They had never expected this outcome. Their hearts full of expectation were instantly shattered. They naturally felt terrible and were in no mood to coddle Song Jingian. However, he didn't give up. Holding the gifts and smiling as he tried to console them, "Ruowei, Yating, don't be discouraged. Mingyu just hasn't figured it out yet. Maybe he'll understand in a while. Look, the gifts you prepared are wonderful. A boy like me really loves them. Mingyu will definitely love them too." Unfortunately, Su Yating and Shen Ruowei were not listening intently to these words. They, who previously couldn't bear to see Song Jingian hurt even a little, now completely ignored the fact that he was also standing in the rain. "He won't like them," Shen Ruowei said flatly. They had grown up with him since childhood. How could they not understand what he meant? His actions were a very obvious rejection. He changed his university choice to leave them, but he never told them. Wasn't that action clear enough? Su Yating also lowered her eyes, radiating an aura of sadness. Perhaps they took a wrong step. They originally thought that by being nice to Song Jingian, I would get jealous and compete with Song Jingian, making me finally decide whose proposal to accept. They never expected that I would reject both of them. Shen Ruowei and Su Yating's eyes were filled with disappointment. At this moment, Song Jingian suddenly opened 2 gift boxes and put on the watch and a ring inside. He grabbed their hands, left and right, and declared firmly, "Ruowei, Yating, Mingyu doesn't like them, but you still have me. I like them. You are both wonderful," but he couldn't see it. "Can you two look at the person next to you? I'm not bad either." Song Jingian didn't care that the rain was soaking his clothes as he shouted these words loudly. Instantly, the entire campus fell silent, including Shen Ruowei and Su Yating. Su Yating forced a strained smile. "Song Jingian, you're not joking, are you? Stop fooling around. Take those off. They're not for you to wear. Be good." Shen Ruowei stared at Song Jingian's hands, her eyes so cold it was as if she wanted to chop them off. "Who allowed you to wear those bracelets? Take them off. Don't make me do it. They're not for you." Her icy cold hand gripped Song Jingian's hands tightly. Using the lubrication of the rainwater, she forcefully took off the items he had just put on. Song Jingian was stunned. How could this be? Almost instantly, tears welled up. Song Jingian cried and apologized pitifully. "I'm sorry, they don't belong to me. I know they belong to Mingyu. I misunderstood that you liked me. I overthought things. I'm sorry. It's all my fault for taking Mingyu's things. I thought I would have a chance since he rejected you two. It turns out it was just wishful thinking." Song Jingian gave a self-mocking smile, then cried and ran away. However, he didn't run far, yet he still didn't hear the sound of footsteps chasing after him. This time, he was truly panicked. He originally thought that Shen Ruowei and Su Yating were completely under his control, that they loved him so much they couldn't extricate themselves. Then why were they still acting this way? Mingyu abandoned them on the day they were supposed to confess. Why do they still love him so much? Am I, Song Jingian, really so inferior to Lu Mingyu? Song Jingian stood by a secluded lakeside, momentarily lost. It was only his first day at this university, and after accidentally taking a wrong turn, he forgot how to find the main path. Why is even the road making things difficult for me? Song Jingian was so angry that he kicked the big tree next to him. But because the road was slick from the rain, he accidentally slipped and fell flat. His carefully prepared image was now messy and disheveled. Song Jingian was practically about to cry from anger. He lay on the ground, grimacing in pain, and only managed to climb up with difficulty after a long time. Why do they all like Lu Mingyu so much? Even after everything, they still love him? Family background, status, money, parents who love him, childhood sweethearts who grew up with him. He has everything. Why can't he yield a little to me? Even if he gave me Shen Rue or Su Yating, it would be fine. Why does this have to happen to me? The resentment in his heart grew stronger. He slammed his fist against the tree trunk, not even noticing the blood seeping from his knuckles. Meanwhile, Shen Rue and Su Yating were carefully putting the heirloom jewelry back into their boxes. They had never considered accepting Song Jingian. For them, Song Jingian was merely an object of pity and more so a tool to make me jealous. Now that I wasn't here, there was no need to be so nice to him anymore. Moreover, because of him, I hadn't chosen either of them. Shen Rue and Su Yating exchanged glances, seeing the displeasure they had for each other. If they hadn't made that damned agreement, perhaps they would have successfully won me over by now, instead of the current situation where they didn't even know where I had gone. Suddenly, Shen Rue said, "Teacher Liu knows." Hearing this, Su Yating reflexively lifted her head. Teacher Lo was their high school homeroom teacher. She would definitely know which university I went to. Shen Rue and Su Yating immediately took out their phones and called Teacher Liu. "Hello, Teacher Liu, it's Shen Rue. I wanted to ask which university Lu Mingyu went to." Teacher Liu on the other end was very surprised. "You three were practically inseparable every day? Don't you know which university he went to?" Shen Rue was slightly ashamed and kept silent. Teacher Liu didn't think too much of it and proudly replied, "Mingyu had the best scores. He went to Peking University, Beta. When our school received the notification, we did find it a bit strange that he didn't stay at Huada with the two of you in the city, but it was already settled. Since you didn't ask us at the time, we teachers assumed you already knew. You know, we posted the admission list in the class group chat back then, you can check it out." Hearing this, Su Yating immediately opened the class group chat and diligently scrolled through it. Shen Rue thanked the teacher and hung up the phone. Sure enough, next to my name on the admission list was the clearly visible Peking University. In an instant, both of them were stunned. Beta was thousands of miles away from their city, worlds apart. How could I have chosen to go there? I had clearly filled in Huada as agreed upon. Why did I suddenly change it? Shen Rue and Su Yating saw the confusion in each other's eyes. Had I been planning to leave them forever, all that time ago? But why? Didn't I feel even a slight flutter of emotion for them? This question could only be answered by me. If I were there, I would tell them. Perhaps in the past, there was definitely a flutter of emotion, and it could even be called love. However, that love was destroyed by the two of you with your own hands. No boy can accept betrayal from those close to him, not even friends. I was already good-tempered enough. I gave you countless chances. But I never expected that the two childhood sweethearts who had always stood firmly by my side would so unhesitatingly choose someone else. After so many times, I should finally give up. I had just gotten off the plane when I saw a woman holding an arrival sign with my name on it. The woman was beautiful. Her most unique feature was her sky blue eyes. She was clearly of mixed heritage, tall, long-legged, with an excellent, curvaceous figure that drew many glances. Quote, "Lu Mingyu?" As he approached, I heard her pronounce my name seriously. A cool voice with a hint of a chuckle. I was momentarily stunned. "I'm Chu Wanling, your arranged marriage partner." Chu Wanling reached out and took the small suitcase from my hand, introducing herself. Then she called the Chu family's driver, and together they loaded the rest of my luggage into the car. I remained there, somewhat dazed, allowing Chu Wanling to lead me. It wasn't until I felt the cool climate of Beijing that I instinctively shivered. My mind instantly cleared. I didn't recognize the wrong person, did I? "Are you really the arranged marriage partner my mother mentioned?" The moment the question left my lips, a trench coat was draped over me, an act of extreme thoughtfulness. I don't think I would make a mistake. Wanling produced a photo, as if by magic, and held it in front of me. I took it and saw that the person in the picture was myself. The photo still carried a hint of her cedar scent and body warmth. I smiled awkwardly for a moment. "Sorry, I shouldn't have doubted you. It's okay, let's go to school." Chu Wanling curled her red lips understandingly. She continued, "I'm in the finance management major at Beta School of Business 1 year ahead of you. You can come to me if you need anything." As she spoke, she showed me the QR code on her phone. "Add me as a friend." I nodded quickly, took out my phone, and successfully scanned the code. Chu Wanling drove me to the dormitory building and instructed the driver to take all my luggage up to the room. Before I could even protest, she was already organizing my belongings, including the bedding. She immediately noticed if anything was missing and quickly sent someone to buy it. I felt somewhat overwhelmed. She was a bit too considerate. Watching Chu Wanling's busy figure, I had the fleeting illusion that she was truly my girlfriend. But in an instant, I came back to my senses. With Shen Ruowei and Su Yating as a cautionary tale, I almost didn't want to offer up a genuine heart again. The way things were now was perfectly fine. "Thank you very much today, Senior Chu. I'll treat you to a meal later," I thanked her politely. Chu Wanling noticed the distance in my words and let out a soft chuckle. She simply replied, "Okay." Even after I lay down and fell into a deep sleep, Shen Ruowei and Su Yating at Huada couldn't sleep at all. With me not at Huada, everything there seemed to have lost its appeal. Shen Ruowei was unenthusiastic and refused all class activities, even pulling strings to postpone her upcoming military training. She stood on the balcony and called the Shen residence. "Dad, I want to transfer to Beta." The phone line was silent for a long time after she said this. Then, angry shouting came through. "Shen Ruowei, are you crazy? University isn't high school where you can go wherever you want. Don't be naive. I won't agree. You know that with the Shen family's status, your every move must be particularly cautious. Don't even mention transferring, unless you drop out and take the college entrance exam again." As soon as he finished, the call ended with a beep. Father Shen didn't care what she chose. In any case, she couldn't use the Shen family's influence to make it happen. If it were within the city or province perhaps, but Beta was too far, and the Shen family's influence wasn't omnipotent. Shen Ruowei already knew this would be the outcome. She wasn't disappointed at all. The phone call wasn't to ask for permission. It was to give notice. At the same time, Su Yating next door was doing the same. Father Su gave her a thorough scolding. "Su Yating, do you think you're a 3-year-old child? Demanding to go here today and there tomorrow? University is not a joke. The fact that you even managed to get into Huada is a result of my burning incense and praying to Buddha. Your mother and I will not agree. I know you want to go to Beta for Mingyu, but it's still a no. He ran so far away precisely to leave you two. Give up. I won't give you any help. If you really want to go, figure it out yourself. Don't come looking for us." Su Yating's eyes were shadowed, but she remained silent. Which university they attended was the same for them. Previously, they thought I liked Huada, so they deliberately brought me to the campus gate to take pictures and agreed to attend university here. They never expected that I would make such a hasty decision just to escape them. Shen Ruowei and Su Yating were up almost all night. The next day, when they should have been attending the freshman orientation meeting with their classmates, they walked toward the academic affairs office. The teacher in the academic affairs office frowned, asking again and again, "Isn't Huada good? Why do you want to drop out? Do you want to waste all your hard work from high school?" You have to understand that Huada and Beta are equally prestigious. It's the same wherever you go. Furthermore, this place is better suited for your future development. The teacher tried his best to keep these two golden Buddhas from leaving. Shen Ruowei spoke coolly. "Teacher, with my intelligence, getting into any university is easy. If he's not here, there's no need for me to stay." Su Yating followed. "Me too. It was just the college entrance exam. It only took a little effort. I don't want to be separated from him." The academic affairs office teacher was hesitant. At this moment, Song Jingian, who was standing outside the door, heard every word. He had thought that with the 3 of them now at Huada, and only I absent, his chance had come. He never expected them to drop out for my sake. "Ruowei, Yating, please don't drop out. I don't want to be separated from you. Please, look at me behind you, okay? I beg you, can you please stop only seeing Mingyu? I'm not worse than him. I love you more," Song Jingian shouted firmly. Hearing this, the look of strangeness and contempt in Shen Ruowei and Su Yating's eyes grew more obvious. The office fell into a deathly silence. After a long while, Shen Ruowei broke the stillness. "Song Jingian, I remember what you promised us before." At that, Song Jingian's heart instantly chilled by half. Su Yating suppressed her anger and dragged him out of the office. "Song Jingian, we had an agreement before. You'd pretend to be nice to you to make Mingyu jealous. You promised us that you would absolutely not develop any inappropriate feelings for us. That's why we chose you." Su Yating's eyes were red with fury. Shen Ruowei's cold voice also drifted over. "You were the one who guaranteed us that you would help us pursue Mingyu. But now, you used us to drive Mingyu away, and now you want to confess to us? I remember warning you more than once not to develop any inappropriate feelings for us. How should we settle this now?" Their successive accusations almost nailed Song Jingian to a cross, as if he were about to be executed the next second. He was panic-stricken to the extreme, but couldn't form a complete sentence. During this time, he had been immersed in their kindness toward him, and had long forgotten the initial agreement. He remembered when he first met Shen Ruowei and Su Yating. He thought they were stunning. I repeatedly brought him into contact with them. Song Jingian personally witnessed their devotion and care for me. Gradually, a sense of greed grew in him. He thought, if they looked at him with such adoring eyes and treated him so well, he would probably be the happiest person in the world. How miserable would Lu Mingyu be then? Just thinking about it made Song Jingian excited. He dreamed of replacing me and seeing me fall from grace. So he made a bold decision. Song Jingian found Shen Ruowei and Su Yating and proposed a collaboration. The content of the collaboration was that they would pretend to be nice to him to make me jealous, and he would help them pursue me. To make them believe this method was effective, he deliberately threw away the love letters they prepared for me and forged a note to himself. The look of shock and confusion on my face when I discovered those 2 love letters with Shen Ruowei and Su Yating's names on them, Song Jingian still remembered it clearly. Sure enough, I took the love letters to question them, and just as they wished, I was jealous. After that, they believed him and decided to tell me everything on the day Huada started, explaining the whole situation. But they never expected that I had already extinguished any inappropriate feelings and changed my university application. Song Jingian thought back to everything that had happened during this time and let out a crazed, laughing sob. "Ha-ha!" If Shen Ruowei and Su Yating hadn't appeared prematurely, he might have remained immersed in the beautiful dream he had woven himself. Their cold, heartless eyes made it seem as if their kindness toward him during this period had never existed. Song Jingian subconsciously reached out a finger, wanting to touch their eyes, but Su Yating stopped him without hesitation. "You deceived us and even drove Mingyu away." Her tone contained a subtle, dangerous undertone. If they hadn't planned to deal with Song Jingian before, now that he had foolishly sought them out, they couldn't be blamed. Shen Ruowei's voice was icy cold. "If it weren't for you, Mingyu would never have left us. Aren't you most concerned about your future? We will withdraw our sponsorship for you, and everything you've done to bully Mingyu before will be repaid, one by one." At that, Song Jingian started laughing, then burst into tears. Shen Ruowei, Su Yating, stop deceiving yourselves. You had countless chances to win him back during this time, but you didn't. You were the ones who pushed him away with your own hands. I told you, he doesn't love you at all. The one who loves you the most is me. It's me, he screamed hoarsely, trying to elicit sympathy from them. However, only indifference was in Shen Ruowei and Su Yating's eyes. "Enough! Mingyu definitely still has feelings for us. Stop lying!" Su Yating quickly retorted, whether out of confidence or panic. Then, the 2 of them left Song Jingian where he was, and decisively went to complete the withdrawal procedures. Song Jingian collapsed onto the ground in disarray, his heart in extreme turmoil. Just the withdrawal of sponsorship was enough to drive him to desperation. He was used to a life of luxury, and it was impossible for him to fall back into the mud again. Without money, even surviving would be difficult. Song Jingian was filled with regret. He quickly got up, took the bank cards Shen Ruowei and Su Yating had given him before, and rushed to the bank. "I want to withdraw cash, as much as possible." He frantically entered the password, his fingers trembling. It took him several attempts to enter it completely. At this point, only a large amount of cash could satisfy his uneasy feeling. However, the ATM showed an error. "Your bank card has been frozen." He tried both cards. The message was the same. Song Jingian completely panicked. How could this happen? He quickly switched to another machine, desperately trying to reassure himself. Right, it must be a machine error. It couldn't be this fast. After trying countless machines, the message was always the same. "Impossible. Impossible," Song Jingian muttered wildly, slapping the bank cards onto the counter in front of the bank staff. "Give me cash! Withdraw everything there is!" The staff member checked repeatedly, then frowned and patiently said, quote, "I'm sorry, both of these bank cards have been frozen. You cannot withdraw money." Hearing this, all the strength instantly left Song Jingian's body. He slumped onto the ground like a pile of mud. It's over. Everything is over. He casually tossed the 2 bank cards onto the floor, his entire being utterly distraught and on the verge of collapse. He didn't even know how he walked back. As he walked, a mischievous child suddenly bumped into his calf, holding a firework and happily playing with a friend, not watching where he was going. "Get lost! Don't touch me!" He kicked the child away. The child immediately burst into tears. Seeing the firework in his hand, the child's eyes flashed with malice. He lit it and threw it toward Song Jingian's back. Boom! The firework exploded. Song Jingian's clothes caught fire from the sparks, and a patch of his hair was singed off. "Help! Save me!" Song Jingian rolled on the ground in pain. Unfortunately, there were no surveillance cameras here, and few people came by. The 2 children who were playing moments ago were nowhere to be seen. A red dot flashed in a hidden spot. Then, a bodyguard in black reported in a low voice, "Boss Lu, it's done. I guarantee Song Jingian won't have an easy time of it." My father stood by the floor-to-ceiling window, gazing at the river, and gave a low grunt. Song Jingian struggled for a long time and finally managed to put out the fire on his back. Then he hobbled toward the hospital, even without looking. The severe burning pain on his back made him break out in a cold sweat. Song Jingian's face was ashen. After only a few steps, he collapsed face down on the ground. After being taken to the hospital by a kind person, Song Jingian woke up again, his entire body in excruciating pain. However, the nurse saw he was awake and immediately urged him to find someone to pay the hospital fees. "Mr. Song, we can't reach any of your phone contacts. The surgery and hospitalization fees must be paid promptly, or the subsequent surgery cannot be performed, and you cannot continue to stay in the hospital for treatment." Tears rolled down Song Jingian's face in large drops from the pain. He called Shen Ruoe and Su Yating one by one, begging them to help him one last time. He couldn't rely on his own family. They would be lucky if they didn't ask him for money, let alone pay his medical bills. However, after calling Shen Ruoe and Su Yating countless times, someone finally picked up. "What is it?" Shen Ruoe's cold voice came through, yet it sounded like a heavenly melody to him. "Ruoe, please save me. A child burned me with a firework, and now I'm in the hospital and don't have money to pay for the surgery. Please, just help me one more time. The things before were my fault, but my feelings weren't something I could predict. Didn't you 2 try it before and it worked? Please." Song Jingian pleaded countless times, his voice growing hoarse. Only then did Shen Ruoe's voice finally come through slowly. "Speaking of that, I think I forgot. You actually did so many excessive things to Mingyu before. Our methods were too lenient, which is why you're still dreaming of coming to beg me now." Su Yating on the side also spoke sternly. "For hurting Mingyu, you should repay it 1,000-fold, 10,000-fold. Beep." The call was disconnected. The last thread of hope in Song Jingian's eyes shattered. He didn't want to become an ugly monster, so he used all his savings from the past year for the surgery. However, the financial constraints meant that even after the surgery, he still couldn't return to his original appearance. Of course, all of that was later. After Shen Ruo and Su Yating dropped out, they immediately enrolled in a high school tutoring program. In an instant, rumors about the 2 of them spread throughout the Huara campus. Almost everyone was discussing how foolish they were. They confessed on the first day of school, only to find out their object of affection wasn't even at the university. Some insiders even leaked the details about Song Jingian. Countless people talked about Song Jingian with a hint of disdain, though he, now lying in the hospital, was unaware. Shen Ruoe was confident in her grades and felt she didn't need to study in the tutoring class to get into beta next year. Repeating the year was just a formality. Even if Su Yating's grades weren't as good as Shen Rui's, she wasn't worried. If she couldn't match Shen Rui, she could always hire a private tutor. So the 2 immediately rushed to Beijing, to beta. The roommates I met here were all nice. Everything on campus was so beautiful that I almost forgot about Shen Ruoe and Su Yating. After military training ended, my phone vibrated. My roommates joked teasingly, "Is that the beautiful senior asking you out for dinner again? Seriously, when are you 2 getting together? Can we get a meal out of you 2? Yeah, a lot of people ship you 2. He lay on the ground, grimacing in pain, and only managed to climb up with difficulty after a long time. Why do they all like Lu Mingyu so much? Even after all this, they still love him? Family background, status, money, loving parents, childhood sweethearts who grew up with him. He has everything. Why can't he yield a little to me? Even if he gave me Shen Ruoe or Su Yating, It would be fine. Why does this have to happen to me? Just as I was wondering, a girl from the neighboring class appeared in front of me, holding a bouquet of red roses. That looming you, I have a really good impression of you. May I be with you? The girl stammered out the words she had held in her heart for a long time, her delicate face clearly written with tension. Quite a few classmates were watching behind me, chanting, "Say yes, say yes." I righteously refused. "Sorry, I don't like you. I can't be with you." The girl's face immediately fell, her lips moving as if she wanted to say something more. Just then, Chu Wanling appeared behind me. Her warm hand rested politely on my shoulder. "Mingyu has already refused you. Shouldn't you leave?" Seeing Chu Wanling appear, the girl's face instantly turned gray, and she left, crestfallen. The crowd also dispersed. I was a little surprised by the reaction. They seemed to be very afraid of you. Chu Wanling chuckled lightly. Her eyes slightly narrowed, yet she resembled a noble from the Age of Salvation. Of course. After all, I'm practically their instructor now, so they're naturally afraid. Hearing this, the confusion in my mind grew. Instructor, you're only 1 year ahead of me, aren't you? In the second half of last year, I completed all my undergraduate studies and advanced early into graduate studies. In the first half of this year, I was given the exceptional opportunity to act as an assistant professor, teaching some student courses. Perhaps that's why they are so afraid of me. Chu Wanling concealed a few facts, but they were insignificant. In reality, having received elite education since she was little, she had already self-studied and completed some of her university courses. Now she was just completing some of life's necessary journeys. After all, finishing all challenges too early would be too boring. She just hadn't expected a small accident to appear in her life. She only found me interesting after meeting me. Hearing her say this, my jaw practically dropped. In many people's lives, her resume would be considered a glorious highlight, yet she glossed over it so casually. You're so amazing. They must just revere you. I found an excuse for everything that had just happened. Chu Wanling smiled faintly without explaining. Soon after she first enrolled last year, many persistent admirers confessed to her, all of whom she ruthlessly rejected and coldly rebuffed. Many were even moved to tears by her words. As this rumor spread, it was natural that many people became afraid of her. On the way, she led me to a private kitchen, where we unexpectedly ran into two people I didn't want to see. Who is she? Shen Rue and Su Yating asked simultaneously. A similar look of wariness rose in both their eyes. No one had ever given them such a sense of danger, not even each other. They had always assumed I would choose one of them, but I chose neither, and instead chose someone else. Shen Ruo's eyes were chillingly cold, and she met Chu Wanling's gaze without flinching. Su Yating, on the other hand, was like a greedy wild dog, her eyes never leaving me. They were waiting for my answer. My heart jumped violently. I hadn't expected to see them in Beijing. Why are you here? Who she is has nothing to do with you, does it? Right now, shouldn't you be with Song Jingian? I countered coolly, with a hint of inquiry in my eyes. It was almost a subconscious reaction. I thought the two of them had come to blame me again because of Song Jingnian. At this moment, Chu Wanling reassuringly grasped my hand, giving me warm strength. At the mention of Song Jingnian, Shen Rue and Su Yating's expressions immediately became unnatural. Shen Rue cleared her throat, finding an image of Song Jingnian lying in a hospital bed. He has already received the punishment he deserves. We are not with him. I can explain what happened before. In the photo, many parts of Song Jingnian's body were bandaged, and some exposed scars were shocking. But I didn't care. Are you planning to seek forgiveness for him? I don't think that's necessary, is it? I don't believe there's anything left to explain. I tugged at Chu Wanling's hand, signaling that we could go. Just then, Su Yating grabbed my other hand tightly and quickly explained, "We're not here to ask for forgiveness for Song Jingnian. What he's going through now is what he deserves. We were deceived by him before, which is why we were so cold to you and good to him." Su Yating and Shen Rue supplemented each other, explaining everything that had happened recently, because they were afraid that if they didn't explain, they might truly lose me. In their two completely different pairs of eyes was the same sincerity, but I didn't feel a shred of warmth. Instead, I only felt extremely ridiculous. Were they joking, or were they trying to deceive me? I couldn't help but sneer. Is that your explanation? That's too ridiculous. Even if everything you said is true, the harm I suffered was real. I don't want to forgive you, and it's impossible for me to forgive you. We grew up as childhood friends, so I knew what they were saying was true. But precisely because of this, it made me feel that their love for me was utterly disgusting. The past of the three of us that I had desperately missed was completely rotten now. They claimed to love me, yet in the past year, they had done everything to hurt me. My heart was made of flesh. I couldn't be repeatedly hurt and still love them without reservation. Therefore, I had completely moved on. But now they were telling me that the reason they hurt me was out of love. How ridiculous! I laughed and wiped away the tears that spilled from the corners of my eyes, feeling sorrow for my sincerity in the past. Chu Wanling patted my shoulder reassuringly. A mature person's love would never involve hurting the beloved. If you truly liked Mingyu, you wouldn't have hurt him like that. Also, let me introduce myself. I am Mingyu's fiancé. At this statement, Shen Ruowei and Su Yating froze in place. They almost couldn't believe what they had just heard. Shen Ruowei's eyes were filled with broken emotion. She ground out a sentence. Mingyu, tell me whether this is true or false. I will believe you if you say it's false. I glanced at Chu Wanling in surprise. I gave her a reassuring look, and she immediately understood, embracing her and naturally lacing my fingers with hers. Isn't our behavior obvious enough? My parents already arranged an engagement for us, and now she is my fiancé. Looking at the impenetrable atmosphere between us, Su Yating's eyes were red with fury. Mingyu, let go. Childhood engagements aren't meant to be taken seriously. We love you so much, so don't try to intentionally anger us by finding someone. As she spoke, she reached out, wanting to separate our hands. This joke isn't funny at all. Whatever mistakes we made, we'll accept any punishment, but not this. We can't live without you. Shen Ruowei also approached me with a somber face, and her expression subtly changed. She subconsciously said to Chu Wanling, "You should leave first." Seeing my wary gaze, Shen Ruowei and Su Yating felt a bit defeated. Did they really think we were the kind of people who would resort to physical violence? Chu Wanling merely made a phone call. In less than a minute, several bodyguards appeared, twisting Shen Ruowei and Su Yating's arms, ready to take them away. Don't worry, Mingyu won't be harmed. Shen Ruowei struggled, rushing to my front, pulling my hand. Come with me. Let's leave here and go home. We dropped out of school for you. If you like Beta, Peking University, we can study to get in here for you, but you can't be with her. Her voice was icy cold, carrying an unyielding assertiveness. Su Yating also tried to rush over, but was restrained by the bodyguards, unable to move. Her eyes were fixed on me, as if I were the only thing in her life. I knew that wasn't true at all. I didn't need their kind of love. Let go. I won't go with you. Your dropping out has nothing to do with me. That was your own choice. I don't like you anymore. I stopped liking you a long time ago. Don't you understand? My blunt refusal thoroughly shattered their hearts. The rejection in my eyes was very obvious. Chu Wanling's sapphire blue eyes narrowed slightly. The bodyguards nearby swiftly stepped forward and restrained Shen Ruowei. Mingyu doesn't want to go with you, so don't force him. In front of Shen Ruowei and Su Yating, Chu Wanling held my hand and walked into the private kitchen restaurant. Are you okay? Her gentle voice smoothed away all the panic in my heart. I shook my head. I'm fine. Thank you for your help. The two of us sat quietly at the dining table, eating. Our tastes were remarkably similar. The dishes on the table were all our favorites. Chu Wanling occasionally paid attention to my preferences, helping me with food and refilling my tea. Seeing a slight curve on my lips, Chu Wanling also very subtly curved her red lips. Then she subtly glanced at a hidden corner. Mingyu, you have something on the corner of your lip. Let me help you. Her slightly rough thumb wiped across my smooth cheek, leaving an indelible sensation. I froze momentarily, not quite registering what happened. It's nothing, Chu Wanling said with a light laugh, and continued eating. However, in the corner, Shen Ruowei and Su Yating, who had their mouths tightly sealed as instructed, were frantic, their eyes bloodshot. How could she do this? The ropes binding Su Yating's body tightened, leaving visible marks on her skin, but she seemed not to feel it. Her eyes were only focused on me. Shen Ruowei was equally anxious and utterly frantic, still trying to find a way to escape. They wanted to snatch me back, From their perspective, through the faint screen, they had just seen us kissing. It must have been Chu Wanling who initiated it. Mingyu would never have done it voluntarily. He doesn't like her. The two of them were deceiving themselves over and over again in their minds. After a long struggle, they were just about to escape when the bodyguards tied them up again. The two people behind the screen were talking happily, with intimate gestures every now and then. The atmosphere was so harmonious that it seemed as if they had been in love for a long time. Meanwhile, Shen Ruwei and Su Yating felt only mutual annoyance when they looked at each other's faces. Looking at their own pathetic states, they only regretted their powerlessness. Beijing was Chu's territory. The Shen family and Su family were unwilling to offer help. At this moment, Shen Ruwei and Su Yating were no different from ordinary university students. As long as I didn't willingly leave, they couldn't forcefully take me away. They hated their own helplessness, but also clearly realized the gap between themselves and Chu Wanling. In the past, they considered themselves geniuses and looked down on everything. They were always confident in their control over me, never thinking I would ever break free. But my actions completely shattered all their confidence. I had already withdrawn from this entangled relationship, leaving only them struggling in place. Shen Ruwei and Su Yating looked at each other, seeing the unwillingness in each other's eyes. After an unknown amount of time, when I had finished my meal, they were escorted back to Jingxi by the bodyguards. The two of them were unceremoniously dumped at their doorsteps. Before leaving, the bodyguards left a final word. Miss Chu advises you not to bother looming you again, or you will face the consequences. Shen Ruwei quietly picked herself up, completely ignoring the warning. Not getting entangled is absolutely impossible. Su Yating, upon being sent home, was immediately locked up by Father Su. Dad, I won't give up on Mingyu. Didn't you support me liking him before? Why can't you continue to support me now? Father Su slapped Su Yating across the face, roaring, "You know that was before! How did you treat Mingyu this past year? Have you forgotten? Do you know how many times your mother and I went to the Lu family to apologize? It's bad enough that you wronged Mingyu and were entangled with Song Jingian, but why are you going back after doing all that? You've completely disgraced the Su family. It seems your mother and I spoiled you too much before. From today on, stay home and study hard. You are forbidden to leave." Father Su's chest heaved with rage. Mother Su quickly tried to soothe his back. Su Yating, however, remained stubbornly defiant. "Mom and Dad, I apologize for what I did to Mingyu before. I will take responsibility and I will seek his forgiveness, but I will absolutely not give him up." She knelt resolutely in front of the ancestral shrine, enduring the family disciplinary rod being used on her. Father Su slammed the door and left in a huff. "If she refuses to give up, don't give her food or water." Su Yating knelt in the ancestral hall for a long time. Just as she was about to faint, a brick in the corner of the wall loosened. She immediately brightened, gritted her teeth, stood up, and pulled out the brick. "Let's go!" The person on the other side of the brick was Shen Ruwei. Su Yating nodded firmly. With Shen Ruwei's help, she escaped from the ancestral hall. Shen's house was empty, but there were many things piled on the floor. Every item held memories of the three of them from the past. Building blocks they played with as children, diaries with youthful thoughts. Mingyu has always been soft-hearted. He will definitely forgive us. We just used the wrong methods. He will definitely forgive us. Shen Ruwei dug out these items, a hint of madness in her eyes. Su Yating watched, silent for a long time, before opening her mouth with difficulty. "Let's cooperate." In the past, standing opposite each other, they would never have said such a thing. They were too busy competing. How could they cooperate? But now, facing the same enemy, Chu Wanling, only cooperation gave them a chance to win me back. Shen Ruwei glanced at Su Yating and firmly said, "N." In just 3 days, they had sorted out all the memories from the past. Looking at the several boxes filled with items, they suddenly froze. For some reason, they felt incredibly uneasy. Subconsciously, they remembered the veil and the doll I had thrown into the trash can that day. Was it really because they were moldy? They had kept all these items in perfect condition. How could mine have been moldy? Everything that happened in the 2 months before school started echoed repeatedly in their minds. Although they had a vague answer in their hearts, they subconsciously avoided it, unwilling to admit the truth. We grew up together. This relationship can never be severed. He won't completely give up on us. Shen Rue and Su Yating comforted themselves. Not long after returning to Jingxi, they secretly went to Beijing again. In the library, Chu Wanling had her own small room. She and I sat across from each other, studying alone, occasionally exchanging a few words. After realizing Chu Wanling's extraordinary capabilities, I started seeking her out almost daily to study. She was an excellent helper for the knowledge that couldn't be learned from textbooks or fully taught by professors. I wished I could stick by her side at all times to learn. The atmosphere between us was not like the romantic couple everyone gossiped about, but rather like a teacher and student. Chu Wanling also encountered someone who could keep up with her thinking for the first time, so she naturally taught me everything she knew. However, this scene, falling into Shen Rue and Su Yating's eyes, almost drove them to madness with jealousy. They had constructed a huge castle made of fresh flowers and building blocks. The castle was transported outside the library. Inside, countless gift boxes were the memories they had accumulated over the years. Countless twinkling candles enhanced the dreamlike quality of the entire castle. Shen Rue and Su Yating were both meticulously dressed, wearing dresses in completely different styles, yet equally dramatic. They held bouquets and waited with some nervousness. They waited for a long time. Several classmates had gone up to call me, but I never came down. Finally, Su Yating could wait no longer. She shouted loudly towards the upstairs. "Lu Mingyu! Su Yating is here to fulfill the promise from before. You didn't hear that confession, but you can't miss this one." Many students were attracted and craned their necks to watch. Shen Rue also spoke up. "Mingyu, you promised me before that you would choose one of us. Now is the time to choose." Looking down at the scene, I wasn't moved in the slightest. I immediately called the police, citing a fire hazard and disturbance of the peace. Chu Wanling also helped by finding the school administrators and calling for a water truck. Do you remember the truth or dare game I mentioned at that class reunion? I said I would throw away 2 things on the day school started. Those 2 things are you. No matter how many times we restart, I won't choose either of you. I went downstairs and stood opposite Shen Rue and Su Yating, speaking coldly. As soon as my voice fell, the water truck drove over. A jet of water instantly extinguished all the candles. Shen Rue and Su Yating were both drenched. Chu Wanling was quick, pulling me away to dodge all the water. The previously beautiful and dreamy confession scene instantly became a mess. The flowers were washed away by the water, losing countless petals. The gift boxes and the items inside were all soaked and dripping with water. A carefully prepared confession ended in chaos. The hair on Shen Ruo's forehead was still dripping water. Her pale face looked utterly mortified. Her slightly pale, thin lips moved slightly, and her voice was incredibly faint. "Mingyu, I'm sorry. We were wrong before. Can you give me another chance? I've liked you for many, many years. Look, all these things are proof of my love for you. Please don't be so cruel. I beg you." I showed no sign of forgiveness. Su Yating quickly chimed in. "Mingyu, I won't ask you to choose between us anymore. As long as you leave Chu Wanling, we are willing to love you together. You don't have to be troubled. We are both yours." Su Yating's dark eyes were filled with an unquenchable obsession. Many onlookers were whispering, but I remained unmoved. Instead, I found their words utterly preposterous. "Are you crazy? My feelings for you were long extinguished by your own hands. Don't even talk about forgiving you, and don't even talk about continuing to be with you. It's impossible. Give up." With that, I turned and left without hesitation. My resolute attitude was clearly evident. Shen Rue stared intently at my retreating figure, still unwilling to give up, and tried to chase after me. Just then, several police officers got out of their cars and inquired, "Who reported the alarm? Who was responsible for this mess?" After a round of questioning, the police took Shen Rue and Su Yating away. Since one police car couldn't accommodate everyone, Chu Wanling and I volunteered to drive ourselves to the station to give our statements. As the group headed to the police station, an old, dilapidated van abruptly sped towards the police car. Chu Wanling's driver was a retired Special Forces soldier who reacted very quickly, skillfully maneuvering the car to evade it. However, the police car wasn't so lucky. Although the police officer tried to evade it skillfully, their range of movement was limited by the surrounding traffic. The van seemed to have targeted the police car, with a clear objective. The driver floored the accelerator, crashing into the rear of the police car without reservation. If anyone could have seen inside at that moment, they would have realized that the man in the driver's seat of the van was Song Jingian, but his face and body were covered in bandages, from which a trickle of blood flowed, making him look utterly terrifying. Song Jingian had gone insane. He had completely lost the will to live. He wanted to die together with me. After Shen Ruwei and Su Yating withdrew their funding, the meager savings he had were not enough for the reconstructive surgery. Even after selling all the gifts they had given him, he couldn't find the best doctor, and the surgery results were mediocre. The doctor told him that recovery would be a long process. His injuries were not particularly severe, but Song Jingian simply couldn't accept his current ugly appearance. After returning to Waxia University, he could even sense the contemptuous, disgusted, and hostile glances thrown his way. He couldn't stand being so ugly anymore, so he paid money for reconstructive plastic surgery, only to be cheated. The surgery was halfway complete when the clinic was shut down. His face was ruined, and his skin was ruined. Because of his long-term absence from classes, the school frequently warned him and finally advised him to leave. He had lost everything. Why should I still have everything? So he decided to risk everything to make everyone regret it. He saw me communicating with the police and agreeing to give a statement. So he quickly got into the car he had prepared. Song Jingian drove the old scrapped van towards the police car. However, he never imagined that the people in the back seat of the police car were not me, but Shen Ruwei and Su Yating. He crashed into it regardless. The entire rear of the police car was dented, and the rear window glass shattered. Shen Ruwei and Su Yating, including the police aide, were unconscious. Blood was pouring out, possibly from internal organs being pierced, staining the police car red. Song Jingian in the van was no better off. Blood was also seeping from his forehead, and he was slumped in the driver's seat, unconscious. Immediately, ambulance sirens and police sirens wailed continuously. Even I was still shaken and quickly asked Chu Wanling if she was all right. She held me in her arms and patted me reassuringly. "We're fine. We're all fine. They will be fine too." After giving our statements at the police station, we walked outside the emergency room, waiting for Shen's and Su's parents to arrive. Since they were still considered friends, waiting for a while was the right thing to do. After an unknown number of days, Su Yating woke up. She had relatively minor injuries because she had fainted that day and was protected by the police officer, so her injuries were not severe. Only one leg was fractured from the pressure. Shen Ruwei and the police officer in the back seat were not so lucky. The car window glass had pierced Shen Ruwei's head, making her condition very dangerous. Although not life-threatening, the long-term consequences were uncertain. The police officer's entire back was punctured by glass, and some of his internal organs were ruptured and bleeding, placing his life in critical condition. Song Jingian suffered a concussion, and both his legs were broken. The van he was driving was already a scrapped vehicle, so the protective measures were naturally weak. After waking up, Su Yating refused to see me. "Dad, let him go. It wasn't his fault that day. It was Song Jingian. And the way I am now, I am no longer worthy of him." The usually proud Miss Su was humbled and distressed for the first time. She couldn't accept appearing before me with a limp. Although it would heal in the future, she still couldn't believe it. What if, just what, if it doesn't heal? Then she would be lame in front of me for the rest of her life. She would only look for me once she was better. Su Yating's heart was resolute. Father Su and Mother Su sighed repeatedly, unable to do anything but let her have her way. Then Su Yating suddenly remembered Shen Ruwei and asked, "Mom and Dad, why haven't I seen Ruo? Which room is she in? How badly is she hurt?" Father Su and Mother Su were silent for a long time before giving her the answer. "Shen Ruwei is awake, but her mind has some issues. Whenever she tries to think hard about something, her head throbs with pain. She lay silently in her hospital room for a long time and refused my visit." "Who is Lu Mingyu? I don't know him. I don't want to see him," Shen Ruwei said coldly. Hearing this from outside the room, I silently left. I felt somewhat guilty. After all, Song Jingian was trying to hit me but accidentally hit Shen Ruwei and Su Yating. However, I hadn't done anything wrong, so I just left compensation and departed. After sensing my departure, Shen Ruwei inside the room silently shed tears. She had been faking it, she hadn't lost her memory, but her current state was almost no different from memory loss. What kind of torment was it for an intelligent person to be unable to think normally, forced to be a fool who thought of nothing? Even though Song Jingian was arrested and imprisoned, it couldn't compensate for the injuries she had suffered. How could she compete with Chu Wanling now, not to mention all the wrong things she had done? Shen Rui's eyes drooped, and her whole body exuded an aura of pain. If she had only suffered minor injuries, she might have been able to use it to gain my pity and win me back. Now, she was a useless person, Shen Rui thought self-deprecatingly. Not long after, Su Yating was wheeled into the room. A similar sense of loneliness was in both their eyes. If it weren't for Song Jingian, they would never have fallen to this state. Things would have been better than this, no matter what. They exchanged glances, seeing the hatred in each other's eyes. Thus, under the pressure of the Shen and Su families, Song Jingian in prison was in agonizing pain, unable to live or die as he wished. Shen Rui and Su Yating made the same choice, to hide and refuse to see me, because at least that could earn them my apology. Maybe a few years later, when they recovered, they could use that apology to try again. However, due to their injuries and a year of rehabilitation, they missed the college entrance exam. It wasn't until the following year that they took the exam again. Su Yating was admitted to Beida, but Shen Rui was only admitted to another university in Beijing. This was already the result of Shen Rui's desperate efforts. The injury on her head might heal today, tomorrow, or perhaps never. On the day school started, Su Yating prepared a surprise and came to the school again. However, on this day, many students were heading to the athletic field, saying there was some excitement, possibly a wedding. "Student, can you help me find Lu Mingyu?" Su Yating stood downstairs near the dorm and asked a girl for help. The girl's previously shy expression instantly became difficult to describe. "Are you a freshman? Lu Mingyu and Senior Chu are having their wedding today. Didn't you know?" The girl seemed to have endless gossip when mentioning me. Senior Lu is just as amazing as Senior Chu. He skipped several grades in a row and is now a graduate student. He might even teach here in the future. The two of them are often seen together and are a perfect match. They confessed and got engaged around this time last year. The scene was so romantic, everyone envied it. This year, they're getting married. So fast! If you go to the field now, you might still catch their wedding. Hearing this, Su Yating almost froze, unable to move for a long time. She didn't know when she walked onto the athletic field. Shen Rui appeared silently beside her in the corner. They looked at the girl in the white wedding dress not far away, the desire in their eyes never fading. But they both knew it was too late. "Now, will the groom and bride please exchange rings?" Chu Wanling and I exchanged rings, and the next moment we embraced and kissed. Countless people cheered and whistled. I picked up Chu Wanling in my arms and ran out of the crowd. "Are you happy to marry me?" "Happy," Chu Wanling replied with a smile. We might not have been deeply in love yet, but we understood each other enough. The moment two distinct souls touched, they knew they were the right fit. At some point, Shen Rui and Su Yating quietly left, walking in two different directions. The three people who had been so close in the past had finally separated. Even though they were in the same city, Su Yating and Shen Rui often heard stories about us but never saw us again. They heard that Lu Mingyu graduated with his master's degree and won an international award. They heard that Chu Wanling expanded the Chu family business and had a harmonious and happy marriage with Lu Mingyu. They heard, until one day, Su Yating and Shen Rui saw news about us on television. Countless people envied our love and admired our talents, mutual trust, and understanding. It was then that they finally realized that I had reached a level completely beyond their reach. It was already impossible for them to ever be together with me.